You think you're a good person. You recycle, you hold doors open, you'd never hurt anyone. But in 1971, a psychologist named Philip Zimbardo proved that belief is a lie. He proved that ordinary people become monsters in less than 36 hours. 24 college students walked into a basement at Stanford University. They were screened for mental stability. They were normal, healthy, average young men. And within 2 days, some of them were stripping other human beings naked, forcing them to sleep on concrete floors, and psychologically torturing them for fun. Power, anonymity, cruelty. No one told them to do this. No one trained them. They simply received a uniform, a title, and permission. That's all it took, and here's what should terrify you. These weren't psychopaths. These weren't criminals. These were people exactly like you. Today, we're going to dismantle the comfortable illusion that evil is something other people do. Because the Stanford Prison Experiment didn't expose a flaw in some people. It exposed a flaw in all of us. And by the end of this video, you'll never look at yourself the same way again. The basement. August 1971, Stanford University. Professor Philip Zimbardo converts the basement of the psychology building into a mock prison. He recruits 24 male college students through a newspaper ad offering $15 a day. Every single one of them is tested, psychologically stable, no criminal history, no personality disorders. They are, by every measurable standard, normal. Then Zimbardo flips a coin. Half become guards, half become prisoners. The line between good and evil runs through the heart of every human being. The guards receive khaki uniforms, mirrored sunglasses, and wooden batons. The prisoners receive smocks with numbers, no names, just numbers, and something happens almost immediately. The guards don't need instructions on cruelty. Nobody hands them a manual, they invent it themselves. By the first night, they're waking prisoners at 2 in the morning for counts. By the second day, they're using push-ups as punishment. The uniform changed who they believed they were. The transformation wasn't gradual, it was instantaneous. And that speed is precisely what makes this experiment so disturbing. But the real horror wasn't what the guards did, it was how quickly the prisoners accepted it. Broken in 36 hours. Here's what nobody expected. The prisoners didn't just comply, they collapsed. Within 36 hours, prisoner 8612 began screaming, crying uncontrollably, and showing signs of acute psychological breakdown. 36 hours. Not weeks, not months. 36 hours is all it took to shatter a psychologically healthy young man, and the other prisoners didn't rebel. They didn't band together. They turned on each other. When one prisoner went on a hunger strike, the other prisoners didn't support him. The guards gave the other prisoners a choice. Either everyone does 50 push-ups or the rebel goes into solitary. The prisoners chose to punish their own rather than resist together. Think about that. The victims became enforcers of their own oppression. This isn't ancient history. This is a pattern you see everywhere. In workplaces where employees police each other for management. In families where the abused child grows up to defend the abusive parent. The oppressed don't just accept the system. They internalize it. They become it. And this brings us to something even more unsettling, because the guards weren't following orders. They were following something far more dangerous. The Lucifer effect. Zimbardo later coined a term for what he witnessed. He called it the Lucifer effect. The transformation of ordinary, good people into perpetrators of evil, not through brainwashing, not through coercion, through situation. Situation creates evil. The guards weren't sadists when they walked in. Psychological testing confirmed that. But give them a role, a uniform, anonymity behind mirrored sunglasses, and institutional permission, and something ancient wakes up inside them. One guard, who later became known as John Wayne for his brutality, would practice intimidation techniques at home in front of his mirror. He created a character, a persona, and he enjoyed it. He later said he was surprised by what he was capable of. But here's what Zimbardo understood that most people don't. John Wayne wasn't an aberration. He was the norm. Every single guard engaged in some form of abuse. Everyone. The only difference was degree. If this pattern is making you uncomfortable right now, hit like and subscribe to keep exploring the depths of your psyche with me. Because what comes next will challenge everything you believe about morality. The Lucifer effect isn't something that happens to other people. It's a feature of human psychology itself. Power corrupts. Lord Acton wrote it in 1887. Power tends to corrupt, and absolute power corrupts absolutely. But the Stanford experiment proved something far worse. Power doesn't just corrupt, it reveals, it strips away the social masks we wear every day and exposes what's underneath. Think about your own life for a moment. Have you ever been given authority over someone, a new employee, a younger sibling, a group project where you were the leader? Did you notice a shift in how you spoke to them? a subtle change in tone, a slight decrease in patience. Most people don't notice the moment they start treating others as less than. The Stanford guards didn't wake up one morning and decide to be cruel. It happened in micro-escalations. First, they raised their voices, then they gave arbitrary orders, then punishments for not following fast enough, then humiliation. 1, first they dehumanized with numbers. 2, then they controlled with arbitrary rules. 3, then they punished with physical exhaustion. 4, then they humiliated with degradation. Each step felt small, each step felt justified, and that's exactly how it works in the real world. But there's a crucial element we haven't discussed yet. The one ingredient that makes all of this possible. The mask effect. Anonymity, the mirrored sunglasses weren't just accessories, they were psychological armor. When the guards couldn't be seen, when their eyes were hidden, they stopped being individuals. They became the role. Anonymous, invisible, dangerous. Psychologist Philip Zimbardo later connected this to a concept called deindividuation. When personal identity dissolves into group identity, moral restraints dissolve with it, and you experience this every single day. Think about how you behave online, behind a screen name, behind an avatar. The cruelest version of you lives behind a screen. Research from the University of Surrey found that people are 6 times more likely to be aggressive online than face-to-face. 6 times. Comment sections, anonymous forums, road rage behind tinted windows. The pattern is always the same. Remove identity and cruelty follows. The Stanford guards wore uniforms and sunglasses. Internet trolls wear usernames and profile pictures. Corporate executives hide behind titles in corner offices. The mask doesn't create a monster. It gives the monster permission to come out. And this raises a devastating question. If the only thing preventing cruelty is being seen, how moral are we really? Zimbardo's blindness. Here's the part of the story most people don't know. Zimbardo himself became corrupted by the experiment. He wasn't just the researcher. He had cast himself as the prison superintendent, and he got lost in the role. The man studying evil became complicit in it. When prisoner 8612 had his breakdown, Zimbardo's first instinct wasn't compassion. It was suspicion. He thought the prisoner was faking it to get released. When parents visited and expressed concern, Zimbardo reassured them everything was fine. It wasn't fine. He had become so embedded in the system he created that he could no longer see its horror. I was the prison superintendent, and I had become what I was studying. It took Christina Maslach, a graduate student and Zimbardo's future wife, to walk into that basement and say the words that ended everything. She looked at what was happening and she was horrified. She told him, "What you are doing to these boys is terrible." Out of 50 people who observed the experiment, she was the only one who objected. The only one, 50 witnesses, 1 objector, and that ratio might be the most important finding of the entire experiment because it leads us to an even darker question. Why nobody stopped IT? 50 observers, parents, researchers, graduate students, they all saw what was happening, and 49 of them said nothing. Nothing. This is the bystander effect weaponized by institutional authority. When a system appears legitimate, people defer to it, even when that system is producing clear harm. Stanley Milgram demonstrated this a decade earlier. In his obedience experiments, 65% of participants delivered what they believed were lethal electric shocks to another person simply because an authority figure told them to continue. Obey authority, comply. The Stanford experiment took it further. Nobody was ordering anyone to be cruel. The system simply permitted it. And permission, it turns out, is far more dangerous than command. Because when you're ordered to do something terrible, you can blame the person who gave the order. But when you choose to do something terrible because the environment allows it, you have no one to blame but the darkness inside yourself. That's the real reason 49 people stayed silent. Objecting would mean admitting the system was wrong. And if the system was wrong, then everyone who participated was complicit, including them. But this isn't just about a 1971 experiment. Your daily prison. You might be thinking this doesn't apply to you. You're not a prison guard, you're not in a psychology experiment, but you're wrong. You are in a system right now. Every office has its guards and its prisoners. Every school, every family, every social media platform. The dynamics of the Stanford experiment play out in your life every single day. The manager who micromanages and humiliates employees in meetings, that's a guard with a corporate title. The employee who witnesses it and says nothing because they don't want to lose their job, that's a bystander. The colleague who starts policing other employees to gain favor with management, that's a prisoner enforcing their own oppression. And here's what should disturb you most. You have played all 3 roles. You have been the guard, Maybe not physically cruel, but you've used whatever small power you had to control someone else. You've dismissed someone, talked down to someone, made someone feel small because you could. Guard, prisoner, bystander. You've been the prisoner, accepting treatment you knew was wrong because the system seemed too powerful to fight. And you've been the bystander, watching injustice and choosing silence. The question isn't whether you've done these things. The question is what you do now that you see the pattern. The hero's choice. Christina Maslach made a choice that 49 other people couldn't make. She chose to see, and then she chose to speak. Zimbardo later developed what he called the heroic imagination project. His argument was simple but profound. If situations can transform good people into perpetrators of evil, then awareness of those situations can transform ordinary people into heroes. Heroes are ordinary people who do extraordinary things in extraordinary circumstances. But heroism isn't about grand gestures. It's about small refusals. Refusing to laugh when someone is being mocked. Refusing to stay silent when you see mistreatment. Refusing to hide behind your role when your role demands cruelty. 1. Recognize the system you are inside. 2. Question the authority you obey without thinking. 3. Resist the comfort of conformity. 4. Speak when everyone else stays silent. The Stanford experiment revealed that evil doesn't require evil people. It only requires a system that permits it and individuals who comply. Heroism requires the same thing, but in reverse. A system that permits courage and one individual willing to exercise it. 1 person out of 50 changed everything. That ratio is terrifying, but it's also hopeful, because it means 1 person is enough. And what comes next is the most important question of all: the mirror. The Stanford Prison Experiment is usually taught as a story about guards and prisoners, about authority and obedience, about systems and power. But that's not what it's really about. It is about the person you become when no one is watching. It's about the version of you that emerges when the social contract is suspended, when the rules change, when the mask goes on. Every human being carries both the guard and the hero inside them. The question Zimbardo spent his entire career trying to answer is simple. What activates which one? And the answer is not character, it's not morality, it's not upbringing, it's awareness. The guards who were most cruel were the ones who stopped seeing the prisoners as people. The one person who stopped the experiment was the one who refused to stop seeing. Your greatest protection against becoming the monster is knowing the monster exists inside you. That's the paradox. The people who believe they could never do something terrible are the most vulnerable to doing it, because they never build the defenses. They never question their own behavior. They never look in the mirror. So look hard, because what you see there is the beginning of real change. The Stanford Prison Experiment wasn't about what happened in a basement in 1971. It was about what's happening inside you right now. Every day you make choices, small choices, whether to speak or stay silent, whether to use your power to lift someone up or push them down, whether to see others as people or as obstacles. He who fights monsters should see to it that he himself does not become a monster. Zimbardo proved that the distance between good and evil is not a canyon, it's a step, 1 uniform, 1 title, 1 moment of unchecked authority. That's all it takes. But he also proved something else. 1 person who refuses to look away can stop it all. 1 person changes everything. The experiment ended because 1 woman had the courage to say what everyone else was thinking but was too afraid to voice. You have that same courage inside you. The question is whether you'll use it. If you made it this far, comment 1 of 50 if you're choosing to be the one who speaks up. Welcome to the Psyche Project. If this changed how you see yourself, subscribe. Understanding your own psychology is the most important work you'll ever do.